I need to tell you something that most doctors will never say out loud in a consultation room. After 15 years working with women's intimate health, sitting across from thousands of women who came to me confused, exhausted, and quietly falling apart, I have seen one pattern more than any other. The women who ignored their intimate health after 45 didn't just lose their desire. They lost their energy, their mood, their sleep, and eventually their sense of self. And almost every single one of them said the same thing when they finally came to see me. Nobody told me this would happen. Nobody warned me. I thought it was just age. It is not just age, and you deserve to know the truth before it is too late to do anything about it. In this video, I am going to walk you through 4 things that happen to a woman's body and mind when she stops prioritizing intimate self-care after 45. These are not theories. These are clinical realities I have witnessed thousands of times. And more importantly, every single one of them is preventable. Not with expensive treatments or complicated routines, with simple, consistent, informed self-care. I will also tell you exactly what to do, gently, privately, at your own pace, to protect yourself starting today. Stay with me until the end, because the 4th consequence is the one nobody talks about, and it may be the most important thing you hear all year. I want to tell you about a woman named Patricia. She was 52 when she first came to my clinic. Elegant, sharp, the kind of woman who had always taken excellent care of herself. She exercised regularly. She ate well. She had her annual checkups without fail. But for 3 years, she had been silently dealing with something she was too embarrassed to mention to anyone. Not her doctor, not her closest friend, not even her husband. She had stopped feeling like herself, not just physically, in every way. Her mood was flat, her sleep was broken, her confidence, the thing that had always been her strongest quality, had quietly disappeared. When she finally sat across from me and described everything, I recognized the pattern immediately. Her intimate health had been completely neglected for years, and her entire system was paying the price. The first thing that happens when a woman ignores intimate self-care after 45 is that her body begins to change in ways that accelerate aging from the inside out. After 45, estrogen begins its long decline. And estrogen is not just a reproductive hormone. It is the hormone that keeps your tissues elastic, your joints lubricated, your skin hydrated, your cardiovascular system protected. When intimate activity stops completely, blood flow to pelvic tissues slows. Tissues thin, elasticity decreases, and these changes happen faster than most women expect. This is not a moral issue, it is a physiological one. The body follows a simple rule. What is not used begins to deteriorate. Regular intimate self-care, even gentle private self-touch a few times a week, maintains circulation, preserves tissue health, and significantly slows this process. The research is unambiguous on this point. Patricia had no idea that something this simple could have made this much difference. Most women don't, because nobody tells them. The second consequence is hormonal, and this one surprises women most. Most women know that menopause disrupts hormones. What they don't know is that intimate activity, including self-pleasure, actively helps regulate the hormonal system even after menopause. When you experience arousal and release, your brain produces oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. These are not luxury chemicals. They are the hormones that regulate your stress response, your sleep, your mood, and your resilience. When these hormones are consistently absent, when that natural hormonal reset stops happening, the effects compound over time. Women come to me with unexplained anxiety, broken sleep, emotional flatness, weight gain that won't respond to diet. We adjust everything. And often the missing piece is this. I am not saying intimate self-care is a cure for hormonal imbalance. I am saying it is a powerful, free, natural tool that most women have quietly stopped using, and their bodies are showing the consequences. The third consequence is one women feel most acutely in their daily lives, but almost never connect to intimate health. Your pelvic floor is a network of muscles that supports your bladder, bowels, posture, and core stability. After 45, without consistent engagement, these muscles weaken progressively. The women who stop all intimate activity, including self-stimulation, lose one of the most effective natural forms of pelvic floor exercise available to them. I have treated women who stopped attending social events, stopped traveling, stopped laughing freely, because they could no longer trust their body in public. They assumed it was inevitable. It was not inevitable. It was the result of years of pelvic floor disuse. And in most cases, it was completely reversible with the right approach. Kegel exercises help, pelvic floor therapy helps, and regular intimate engagement, which produces rhythmic pelvic floor contractions, helps significantly. These are not separate conversations. They are the same conversation. And now the fourth consequence, the one I promised you. The one that doesn't show up on any lab test, but is the most devastating of all. When a woman disconnects from her intimate self for years, when she stops engaging with her body as a source of pleasure, sensation, and vitality, something much larger begins to fade. She stops feeling feminine. She starts avoiding mirrors. She describes herself as invisible. She says, "I don't know who I am anymore. I feel like I'm living from the neck up." I have heard versions of this from hundreds of women across 15 years of practice. Women in their late 40s, women in their 50s, women in their 60s. The age varies. The feeling is always the same. Intimate health is not separate from identity. It is woven into how a woman experiences herself, her confidence, her presence, her aliveness. When it goes quiet, so does she. Patricia understood this the moment I said it. She didn't cry because it was new information. She cried because someone had finally named something she had felt for 3 years but couldn't explain. So what do? Where do you start? You start gently. You start privately. You start wherever you are comfortable. You do not need to overhaul your life. You need to begin a quiet, consistent practice of paying attention to your body, not as something to manage, but as something to care for. For some women, that begins with breath work. 5 minutes in the morning, hand on your lower abdomen, simply breathing with intention. For others, it begins with moisturizing your intimate area with a pH-balanced product recommended by your doctor. For others, it means reintroducing gentle self-touch, slowly, without pressure or agenda, simply to maintain circulation and tissue health. Once or twice a week is enough to make a measurable difference. Add Kegel exercises. 3 sets of 10, 3 times a day. Simple, free, profoundly effective. And consider speaking to a pelvic floor physiotherapist if you haven't already. These are not conversations to be embarrassed about. They are medical conversations you deserve to have. Patricia came back to see me 6 months after our first appointment. She looked different, not younger, more present, more like herself. She told me, "I didn't realize how much I had disappeared until I started coming back." That is what intimate self-care does when you tend to it consistently. It doesn't just preserve your physical health, it gives you back to yourself. You are not too old for this. You are not past the point where it matters. There is no age at which your body stops responding to care and attention. The only thing required is the decision to begin. Gently, privately, today. Because you deserve a life that still includes vitality, sensation, and the quiet confidence of a woman who knows how to take care of herself. If this video opened something for you, if it named something you have been feeling but couldn't quite say, leave me a comment below. Tell me what resonated. I read every single one. And if you know a woman who has been quietly ignoring this part of herself, a friend, a sister, someone you love, please share this with her. Because every woman deserves to know this before she spends another year disappearing. Subscribe for honest, warm, evidence-informed conversations about women's health every week. I will see you in the next one.